Welcome to Season 4, Episode 13 of the best college basketball podcast on the internet. Brackets, bubbles, and bid stealers. I am Sam Fetterman. That is Jonathan Lidskin. And folks, we have had one of the great nights of college basketball in recent memory, and it's not over yet. So, we're going to take you through the final 47 seconds of Clemson and UAB. Actually, We'll get to some guests right after that game ends. We have correspondents from all over the country. We have correspondents in Spokane. We have correspondents in Pittsburgh. We have correspondents in New Rochelle to bring you a lot of the action. So 47.2 seconds left. Eric Gaines just hit a three from about 28 feet to put UAB ahead of Clemson 73-72. Clemson called a timeout. Both teams in a double bonus. The Blazers have one remaining. This is in Asheville, North Carolina, so not too far from Clemson, I think.
I doubt it's too far. Did San Diego State end up losing to BYU?
Yeah, they lost.
Wow.
Yeah, SDSU lost. All right, here we go. Into the backcourt, picked up by Chase Hunter. Hunter gives it up. Shiflin's got it, and they play a two-man high. Hunter now drives the lane, Euros through, and can't get it to go. Rebound fought for. P.J. Hall looking for it. P.J. Hall gets it off the glass, and one! He is fouled, and P.J. Hall will go to the line with a chance to make it a 2-point lead for the Tigers against UAB. Hunter drove the lane, went up with the acrobatic layup. Then Alex Hemingway had it knocked away, and eventually P.J. Hall came up with it, put the layup in. This crowd there's no one there, by the way. So there will be no shot clock for the UAB if they get this rebound and they make the free throw. All right. One timeout for the Blazers. They're in double bonus. There is no shot clock, 29.8 to go. Eric Gaines picks it up. Gaines is guarded by Dylan Hunter. Gaines uses a screen, gets downhill, drives, goes up, Hall blocks it, and it's picked up by Hunter. Clemson's going to have, actually, it's a held ball, and UAB will get possession with 16.1 to go in regulation, and the Blazers down by 2. Are you watching this, Jonathan?
Yeah, I'm a little behind you, but that was an impressive block.
Yeah, really good stuff from P.J. Hall.
Gaines brought the ball back to shield himself, and Hall still managed to get all ball on it.
Gaines inbounds it. UAB now with Tony. Into the corner. This is for three. That's good! It's Ephraim Johnson, and the Blazers take a 1-point lead with 9.4 seconds to go. Timeout, UAB. Andy Kennedy's going to want to set up his defense.
That's a really tough hit. Defender in the corner, I didn't see who it was, but
it was Chase Hunter.
Looked like he slipped.
Yeah, he slipped. He didn't have a hand in the face of Ephraim Johnson, and that's a huge shot for the sophomore who hit 36% of his threes last year. That's the Huntsville native. We know who's going to get this ball for Clemson. They're going to try and give it to P.J. Hall.
Jeez, just did not think we'd be 9 seconds away tonight from seeing Clemson and Maryland in the third place game of this tournament. But MTE season for you.
MTE season is the best well, it's not the best season. It's one of the best seasons.
It's one of the most fun weeks in college basketball all year.
Kennedy. And his new UAB, new look Blazers without Jelly Walker are 9 seconds away from pulling off the win against a highly touted Clemson team. I'm sorry for keeping Josh waiting here in the waiting room. But we've got a big game. We've got a big finish brewing here in the last 9.4 seconds. So, Josh, if you're just bearing with me right now.
South Carolina up 2 late against Virginia Tech?
I'm not calling that game too.
I'm not asking you to, but I'm just
Into
saying.
the press. Gives it up to Chase Hunter. Hunter is guarded there by UAB. Hunter now trying to drive. It's ripped away and picked up. No, a foul's called. And Clemson's in a double bonus.
2 free throws for the win.
With 3.4 seconds left, it's a foul that goes against UAB.
I'd have to get another look at that, but I don't know about that one.
That's a really ticky-tack call against the redshirt sophomore Will Shaver. Oh, no, I see it.
You get him on the wrist?
He held him.
Okay.
It's the right call with 3.4 seconds left. Last year, Chase Hunter, 81% from the line. This season, he's missed just once in 6 attempts. This one is going to be for the tie. Spins the ball and puts it up, and he hits the first. 3.4 seconds left. No timeouts for UAB. We will not be calling overtime if this game goes to overtime.
I was going to say.
Hunter with a chance to give Clemson the lead with 3.4 to play. And he got it. What will UAB do? Tony is getting ready to inbound. Joe Girard comes out of the game because they need a defensive possession. As does Ian Shiflin. No timeouts for the Blazers. 3.4. They got to get it inbound near that 3-point line. They do to Gaines. Gaines across half court. Gaines has a good look. No good. Clemson escapes. And the Tigers survive a scare.
That's disappointing.
So now we welcome you into Brackets, Bubbles, and Bid Stealers. Sam Fetterman, Jonathan Lidskin, and Josh is now joining us.
Hi, thanks for having me.
I'm sorry to keep you waiting, and we really
appreciate
you joining. So that was an exhilarating game. Another exhilarating game tonight up in Spokane. Gonzaga opened up their season 86-71 winners over Yale. Without Steele Venters, he's going to be gone for the season. Tell me just some main takeaways that you had from the first game of the post-Drew Timme era of Gonzaga basketball.
I would say the biggest takeaway would be that we have a replacement for Drew Timme for the next few years, probably, in Braden Huff, who was absolutely fantastic. I believe he finished with 19 points and 9 rebounds. And, he's one of those like stretch bigs. He's 6'10", can knock down a 3 from really anywhere on the perimeter. Good mid-range game, and not quite there yet defensively, but he's showing that he's trying, which is half the battle. So, but yeah, overall, just a gritty win because Yale made it interesting for the first 30 plus minutes or so. Yeah, absolutely. I was telling our fan base on my podcast and some of the other platforms that Yale's probably a fringe top 50-ish team this year, and absolutely my favorite in the Ivy League. So,
and that's saying a lot because Princeton, we'll get into them later. They picked up 2 huge wins on the East Coast.
Yeah, absolutely.
So for Gonzaga, obviously Braden Huff was the story. Ryan Nembhard, 16-7, first game at the Zag. This is an all-American caliber point guard, and those guys don't transfer every day.
No, and granted, we had a little help from his brother, current NBA point guard for the Indiana Pacers, Andrew Nembhard, and great player in his own right at Gonzaga for a couple years. But I remember when he jumped in the portal, the immediate the reaction we heard was that he is a lock to Arizona. Like it was a done deal. He's going to U of A. Their fan base felt that way as well. He ended up going to visit Gonzaga first, and Graham Ike visited at the same time. And sure enough, Andrew Nemhard was there. He got toured around the campus by Nolan Hickman, and the rest is history. He decided to go to Gonzaga just like his brother.
And Nolan Hickman as well, aggressive today, took 18 shots, scored 15 points.
Yeah.
What's the development curve been like? Because he's had a learning curve over the past couple of years. He really hasn't settled in. Does he look more settled this year?
Yeah, so interestingly enough, we have a kind of a cookie cutter process for this in place. Josh Perkins was kind of the maligned point guard in 2016, while Nigel Williams-Goss sat on the bench during his transfer year from Washington. Next season, Nigel takes over a point guard. Josh Perkins moves to the 2 guard, and the rest is history. Gonzaga goes all the way to the national championship game and loses in the closing minute to North Carolina. So we kind of see Nolan in a similar role this year. He had to slide over for me in the primary ball handler, and I think it's going to do him wonders. He's got an excellent ability to create his own shot off his dribble. And he's real good with some of the heat check threes when needed. So I think we're all pretty high on his development curve this season. And then he still has some eligibility on the back end that he could play more point guard next year or the year after. So
yeah, and this front court overall, with the addition of a Braden Huff and Graham Ike, just adding that to what you already have with Anton Watson, one of the better interior defenders in the country, who can also play a little bit of a more diverse game, I would say, than Ike. Just the way that this front court is structured, how do you feel about the way they play tonight?
Yeah, it's a 4-man rotation. Ben Gregg's also in there, another stretch big, plays a real similar role to what Huff does, although I would say maybe less skilled offensively and more in your face, ferocious on defense. And Anton, like you were talking about, I mean, he's just such a balanced player. I remember last year when we played Kentucky, there was some conversation about who's going to guard Shibwe, how are the Zags going to contain Shibwe, and because Drew Timme is not necessarily your best post defender in the world, and Anton was not only the one we called on to guard Shibwe, but he actually shut Shibwe down and gave him one of his toughest games of the year. Kentucky fans are still crying about the defensive effort that Anton had last year. So he's kind of a Swiss Army knife on defense. He can play out on the perimeter. He's chaotic in passing lanes. We love him. He is a Spokane, born and raised hometown kid who decided to come back for his 5th year, and Gonzaga fans love that.
Yeah, 79-77, by the way, right now between South Carolina and Virginia Tech. 15 seconds to go. I'm just going to take you through the last 15 seconds here because the Hokies are inbounding with Tyler Nickel in the front court. He's going to be shadowed immediately by Miles Stute. Nickel will get it in quickly to Sean Padula. Padula is guarded by Talon Cooper, the Minnesota transfer. Here comes a screen. Padula steps back, fakes, goes through, has to give it up, loses the ball. Who's going to pick it up? It's on the floor, scrambling for it, and is it a tie-up or a jump ball? Is it a tie-up? It's a tie-up, and it's South Carolina ball. Gamecocks are going to win this one. All right.
Yeah, I'll jump in here. I can speak a little to Braden Huff because I saw him play a bunch when he was a senior in high school. He went to Glenbard West, a team that went like 36-1, won the state title in Illinois. Their only loss was on a buzzer beater to Sierra Canyon. But yeah, if you're like Braden Huff was a guy that I always thought would make an impact at some point.
We'll get into Caden Pierce later.
Yeah, we will. But Braden Huff was always a guy I thought would make an impact at some point at Gonzaga. I didn't know when. He's a really good shooter, can step out and hit it. And even though he's still learning defensively, like you said, he's pretty long. So like he can impact shots at the rim, even though he maybe is not like quite strong enough to bang down there yet with some of the high major bigs that Gonzaga will see in non-conference. But yeah, I'm really glad he's making an impact off the bench. I think he can be a really important player this year, especially with Venters out, just because he does so much for you on offense.
Yeah. Yeah, I also really enjoyed his game in high school, and he was really under the radar when we signed him because, Gonzaga's been signing a lot of 4 and 5-star kids lately. But he won Mr. Basketball for Illinois that year. He when he spent his first season at Gonzaga redshirting, but I mean he trained against Drew Timme every single day in practice, and Timme actually sung his praises during the NBA draft process during some of the interviews. Talked him up, talked about how if there was a player, an unsung player on Gonzaga who is going to have an instant impact this year, who was it going to be? Well, he said Braden Huff. So, like you said, defensively, he's still growing, but he did show some signs tonight of being able to make an impact with his length as well as on the boards. So, overall, I cannot argue with a first game performance such that he put on tonight. We saw a few flashes of that in the scrimmage as well as the first exhibition game. But sometimes you could chalk that up, a performance like that for, the competition level that you're playing. But obviously Yale, different story.
All right, Josh, anything else you want to add on your Zags tonight?
You can follow me on Twitter at @thezagaholic. I have the podcast Zagaholic, which is on all major platforms, as well as the Switch Everything podcast on all major platforms, where it's kind of more of a Gonzaga / Kentucky theme podcast. So appreciate you all having me on.
All right. Thank you so much for coming
joining
on.
us, Josh.
And
thank you.
We'll definitely look to get you on more as the season goes on and the Zags continue to develop.
For sure. Thanks for having me again.
Of course. And we are now going to bring on Jaden Daly to talk Iona and Sacred Heart, one of the great games of the season so far. He's just going to be joining us on the phone.
Okay. I'm interested to see how this works. Hopefully well.
Hey, Sam.
Hey, Jaden. How's it going? Welcome to Brackets, Bubbles, and Bid Stealers.
What's going on? You there?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Can you hear Jonathan? Jonathan, speak.
Hi, Jaden.
Jonathan, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing good on the train back from Iona.
All right. So what a game in New Rochelle.
Yeah, turned out to be one of the better games on the slate, I think. The way it played out, a wild, entertaining, back and forth, up and down 40 minutes, where it looked like Sacred Heart may have pulled it out, and then the last couple minutes, there were some clock issues too. Iona found a way to put it together. Joel Brown stepped up, and Iona got a second and third option after Idan Tretu went off for 34 points.
Yeah, the first thing that we have to do is we have to talk about the Harvard man himself, Idan Tretu, who dropped 34 points on 7 threes. What was going right for him out there?
He just found wide open shots, and it's a credit to Joel Brown and Wes Panzo, who stepped in and got him going, fed him some shots. Greg Gordon didn't have his best game. He fouled out midway through the second half. Tobin Anderson rolled the dice, brought him back in with 8.5 minutes to go after he picked up his fourth foul, and then got called for his fifth maybe a minute or two later. But it was just a combination of Idan getting hot at the right time, finding good looks, being left open by Sacred Heart's floor spacing. He had a little bit of Jose Perez in him tonight just by the raw eye test, where he got open, he created shots, he got to the line, he's got to hit his free throws too. That's the next part. But just off of watching him tonight, Iona might have something special in there.
Yeah, I mean, before the season, I pegged him as a guy who could be a MAC Player of the Year candidate. And Greg Gordon fouls out in 13 minutes. Sometimes he's good chaos, sometimes he's bad chaos. Tonight, that was bad chaos.
Yeah, where it was just the opposite of how he performed in Charleston Monday night, where he had 18 points and 14 rebounds. He really couldn't get much going against Sacred Heart's taller front line. Nico Dillette had a double-double coming off the bench, but he did a little bit of everything as well. Alex Sobel, the graduate transfer from D3 Middlebury, really stepped in and made things difficult for Gordon as well. It was just a bad matchup for him. and then it didn't get much better after he got in foul trouble.
Yeah, Wes Aponzo, Iona, he went 0 for 5 from 3 on Monday night in Charleston. Tonight, 4 for 10. This is what you're looking for Wes Aponzo. What types of actions did Tobin run to get him open?
Oh, he really just threw Sacred Heart off guard with his spacing the floor too. A lot of his threes were on the winger in the corner, and once he got one to go down, he became more confident. And he mentioned it in the post game too. He and Edon came in after the game and said they really got him going after Monday night. That they were mad over how it ended, and they came in looking to exact some kind of revenge as well. Iona has to work on its press defense. Sacred Heart couldn't keep up down the stretch. So it's going to be a work in progress. You'll see that there are going to be stretches where they look good. There are going to be stretches where they don't look good, like in the first half where Sacred Heart went on a 14-0 run.
Yeah, and on Sacred Heart, I've been talking up this team as just a ridiculously talented group for the Northeast Conference. Nico Gillette, big performance tonight. Aiden Carpenter, the former Siena man, was very good. Tanner Thomas, that's the brother of Hofstra star and former Sacred Heart star Tyler Thomas, a former Niagara transfer Raheem Solomon. They didn't even need to get a ton out of Riley and out of Sixsmith and out of Brendan McGuire tonight because they have just so much talent.
Absolutely. There was a four-man game that Anthony Latino was able to work between Gillette, Thomas, Aiden Carpenter, and Joey Riley to Raheem Solomon, who has been around the max in years when he was at Niagara. I think he may have played for Chris Casey before Greg Balls took over. So Sacred Heart is a very talented team. Gillette has the COVID year, so if he comes back next season while Sacred Heart's in the back, you're looking at a preseason first teamer and maybe a player of the year contender. I'm very interested to see how this group performs as the year goes on. They've never been to an NCAA tournament at the Division I level.
Yeah, I think that changes this year. I've been on this. Anthony Latina, he's a good coach. He's still waiting to reach his peak, I would say. Now, Iona's freshmen, Jeremiah Quigley and Sultan Adewale, were each very impressive tonight. Tell me what you saw from those two.
And the two of them came out late down the stretch too, Sam. Sultan Adewale played the starting 5 spot tonight and will through the rest of the month as Osborne Shemmer recovers from his injury. He needed a little bit to get going, but once he was able to establish position and assert himself, he really got better. Jeremiah Quigley and I'll even add in Gene Aaron Gorin as well. The two of them saved Iona down the stretch in the final minute. They made 2 big defensive plays coming up with steals and interceptions. They played like 50-year seniors in the second half, Sam, and to have that kind of rapid maturation in a game that could very easily have gone off the rails, this tells me more about Iona's composure than I would have expected 80 minutes into the season. They really played well.
And a guy said it on the space last night where Iona was almost better on Monday night with the young guards in than with the older guards. That's the thing that kind of makes these young guards so impressive. Jeremiah Quigley is a guy that played at one of the big schools in the DMV, one of the WCAC schools, and he was a stud there. Aaron Gurin is so physically developed. He's smart. Adewale, I mean, this is a guy that he had his moments on Monday night. Tonight, he looked great.
He did. He looked a lot better than I didn't get to see Monday night than the stats would have indicated. He's getting more poise as he develops, as he gets more reps as the starting 5-man while Shemmer recovers. And I think that's only going to serve him well going into conference play when Oz comes back. And you'll see him as more of a change of pace, really make matchup problems on both sides of the floor. I was very impressed with him as well.
We're going to get to some more stuff on this stuff later, but just initial takeaways from other stuff around our region. Were you able to catch the Quinnipiac game?
I wasn't. I was on the train going up to New Rochelle. I know it was a close game, and they won by 4. And judging by your tweets, Reeve Vapors looked really good from outside. Tom Pecora couldn't stop talking about him when we spoke over the summer. So it's good to see that come into fruition as well. Savion Lewis is handling the point guard spot the way I expected him to as a fifth-year guy. He's going to be a guy that TP leans on this year along with Matt Malank. Ryder in Manhattan did what you expected them to do against Marquette in Kansas, a steep learning curve early in the season. Monmouth gets 30 from Xander Rice to beat West Virginia. I was very impressed with that. I might be getting a hold of Kane later on when I get back home. Shout out to Gary Kowal, the SID, for reaching out to see if I needed anything. That was a really impressive win that I want to go further into the box score.
And Princeton. And Princeton comes to Hofstra and wins. And that might be our next topic. Thank you so much, Jaden, for joining us tonight on Brackets, Bubbles, and Bid Stealer.
Anytime, guys. Sam, John, you do an excellent job all the time, and I'm glad to finally make my appearance with you guys. Hopefully, we'll have more to come as the year goes on.
Now, when's my appearance on your podcast?
Thanksgiving, as soon as back play opens up, we got to get you on.
All right. Thanks, Jaden.
Thanks, Jaden.
We will talk again soon.
Absolutely, my friend. Thank you.
All right, that was Jaden Daly, Daily Dose of Hoops. He was at Iona Sacred Heart tonight. I know I teased that we were going to talk Princeton Hofstra, but we've been going for 25 minutes, and we now are going to talk about Duquesne. Jack Morgan, welcome to the show.
Yo, what's up? Thanks for the invite, guys.
This is Brackets, Bubbles, and Bid Stealers. Duquesne against Charleston. 2 top mid-major programs, and this was a wild affair. Jack, tell us what you saw from the Dukes in the first half, those first 5 or 10 minutes.
I mean, on defense, the first 5 to 10 minutes, they played fantastic defense. I mean, it looked like they were dialed in on defense, and that's what they're going to have to do to win these games. And Day Grant was hitting everything under the sun. I mean, went off. I mean, Kareem Rozier, he went off. He's going to have to fill the shoes of Tevin Brewer from last year. He's already off to a great start there. He had a nice bounce-back game today after I think it was 1 of 9 shooting in the game against Cleveland State.
Yeah, and for Duquesne as a whole, you look at a team this talented with guys like Day Grant, and overall, with Keith Dambrot at the helm, It's been tumultuous, to say the least. But this is easily the most talented group that he's had.
For sure. I mean, also the Drame brothers. I remember the other night when he was talking post-game to the press, I think he probably spent over 2 minutes elapsed talking specifically about them and how much they brought to the team. They weren't used to coming off the bench. They didn't come off the bench at all in their basketball careers until now. And they've both of them have really put forth great effort in the first 2 games.
Yeah, Jimmy Clark, 18 points and 7 assists. He was great. Savrasov was great. And they're doing this without Dusan Mahorcic, who's still nursing that injury. Can you tell us anything more about that?
Yeah, I mean, he's been bringing a lot of energy on the bench, by the way. I mean, I could just see in the first game, a lot of energy there. And honestly, I wish I had more on the Mahorcic injury, which, in theory I should. And I'll actually, for you, I'll ask our SID tomorrow about him. He's got to have the answers. But once he comes back, that's another great addition for this Duquesne team.
You guys pulled away in the second half. It got really close, and it was a really great game for about 20 minutes. And then there were 20 minutes where Duquesne was really just overpowering Charleston. What was it that fueled that final surge?
I think, well, to begin it, I mean, Rozier had probably a stretch of 5 points that stretched out that lead from being close to kind of pulling away a bit. What, they had an 11-0 run, right? At one point?
Yes, they did.
That's I remember you texting me about it. The 11-0 run. I mean, that's what Duquesne can do. I mean, they shoot a lot of threes, right? I mean, they have a lot of shots on the outside perimeter than a normal team. that you see these days. But when they start hitting those shots, and they can at a dangerous rate, that's when things go downhill. Also, Rozier literally just ducking under that defender for the lay. I mean, that was just ridiculous. He's brings a lot of energy to this team.
Now, I do want to talk now about Charleston because you got to see them. I wasn't watching this game. Ante Brozovic had 13. Frankie Policelli really struggled. What stood out to you about the Cougars?
Yeah, I mean, I think last year, I remember I did get to catch the final game of the CAA against UNC
Wilmington, yeah.
Wilmington, yeah. Their pain
by the way, right now in Westwood, it is Lafayette 31, UCLA 30.
Yeah, I saw that.
Okay.
Jack, keep going.
But I mean, I think their pain presence. They got a lot of big guys down low that kind of were doing it to Duquesne. I mean, Duquesne's not a tall team. Like overall, I mean, they're not as good in the paint, and I think Charleston dominated the paint from what I saw in the game, and that gave Duquesne some fits at times.
Anything else that you want to say about Duquesne today in this game?
I think this was a big win. I mean, you got Princeton, you got Stony Brook, and then you got Princeton. I mean, Princeton's going to be a very, very fun one I believe that is at the Coop, so I'll be there for that. Can't wait to watch that one.
Yeah, I mean, Duquesne's schedule coming up. Stony Brook is not that great. Princeton is obviously awesome, and then Rider's a team that's projected near the top of the conference, and then it's Nebraska.
I figured you'd enjoy the Rider game.
Yeah, and then it's Nebraska in Nebraska. UC Irvine is always a good group. Marshall, they lost to Radford tonight, but they killed Queens on Monday. That's in Huntington. Overall, I think you look at Duquesne, if they can come out with some more wins here, they could put themselves in an at-large position.
Yeah,
because they're talented enough to do so. If there's a chance they're undefeated with an impressive resume going into that Bradley game on December 18th.
Yeah.
And they're talented enough to do so. They're talented enough to walk in to Lincoln and beat the Cornhuskers. They're talented enough to pretty much beat everyone on their schedule. Now, they're going to drop some games. I don't know where. I don't know when.
Yeah.
But they can put themselves in at-large positions. They have opportunities. Princeton, Nebraska, Charleston today, Bradley, and Santa Clara. Those are good non-conference games where you can put yourself in at-large position.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, Jack. Thank you so much for joining us. It's been a half hour, and we really need to get into some of the big games of the day.
Real quick before we move on. Really interesting couple days for Charleston. They almost lose the opener against Iona, and then they the final score didn't really tell what happened in that game against Duquesne today. But Charleston's a team that likes to play fast, and Duquesne's got those three guards that if you want to try to speed them up, they're probably not going to be all that bothered by it. They got
Duquesne plays fast in general.
Yeah, they got really good contributions today out of all three of them. Grant didn't even shoot that well. It was 7 of 20 from the field, but Clark had 18. Rozier had 20. Like, if you're going to get only 13 from Brozovic and he doesn't hit a three, probably going to be a tough day for Charleston. But, these were two teams that were separated in my preseason rankings by 7 spots. And Charleston's obviously a team that's picked to win the league. Duquesne's a team that's going to have a chance to win the league. And you're right. They're going to play a lot of quad 2 games that are going to give them a chance to boost their resume, similar to how FAU did last year in their non-conference slate. If they can pick up a bunch of these wins, we could start having this conversation.
All right. Seems like we're going to be going for a pretty long time.
Yeah, we have not even discussed a single game between two high major teams yet. We're 35 minutes in.
And we have plenty of other potential guests, not confirmed guests, potential guests.
Sam's working on some stuff. Let's
we can bring in. So let's begin with it. That's a pretty long introduction to the show here. 35 minutes in, and we're finally ready to talk about Duke, Arizona. John Shire, not his finest hour tonight. Caleb Love hit that buzzer beater going into halftime, had a weird game. Kylan freaking Boswell. That's an All-American right there.
Yeah, very possible. Kid looked very mature tonight. Was in complete control of the game. Couldn't rattle him. Hit some really big shots, including a step back over Kyle Filipowski to take a 57-54 lead, I think it was. I mean, he just controlled every single aspect of the game. And that's what this Arizona team needs. Credit to Tommy Lloyd, by the way. This team's tough. They out-rebound, and Duke's not going to be a great rebounding team, but Arizona out-rebounded the hell out of them. And all the narratives about them not being tough and getting out-toughed by Princeton and getting beat up by Houston 2 years ago in the Sweet 16, that could all be thrown out the window this year because Keshad Johnson is a really physical player. Their guards really get up and bother you. Even Pelle Larson's up there pressuring the ball. He picked up 2 early fouls.
Bradley does as well. Off the bench. They have size with Krivas. KJ Lewis is super athletic. I think the athleticism factor and the defense for this Arizona team is another level from what it was last year. Obviously, you don't have a guy like Koloko like you did 2 years ago. There's not many guys like him. Ballo is great. He's not Koloko.
Yeah.
But this Zona team going into Durham and picking up a win should not be scoffed at under any circumstances.
John Shire's first home loss as the head coach at Duke.
Yeah, and Arizona's a top 5-ish team in the country. I'm not dissuaded by Duke in this game. They are going to have growing pains. It's Mark Mitchell's first game back, and he looked pretty good for part of it.
Yeah, he's a little out of control. His shot still looks terrible. It went in a lot last year. I'm still not sure how, but the freshmen.
Sean Stewart got 3 minutes.
McCain had his game. I thought this was a game that you really couldn't play Ryan Young because Arizona. I don't know if you saw this, Sam. What they did is basically whoever was guarding Ryan Young when he caught the ball on the perimeter, it was just whoever was guarding him kept 2 feet in the lane. They weren't going to come out and guard him because why do you need to out there? And
great scout by Tommy Lloyd.
Great scout. And I guarantee you other teams have seen that. I guarantee you Tom Izzo has already seen that for Tuesday and is making a mental note of it.
And that's another athletic basketball team at Michigan State this year.
Yeah.
They've got a bunch of really nice pieces there. And Tyson Walker is one of the best guards in college basketball. Caleb Foster played 13 minutes, didn't score, didn't take a shot. Sean Stewart played 3 minutes. The freshmen are still clearly freshmen.
The 2023 freshman class, is really deep. There are a lot of guys that can make an impact. And if you look all up and down high major and even just all of college basketball, you can see that. But there are not a lot of guys that can come into a game like this and deliver like a typical 5-star freshman would do. There are just not that many guys.
Isaiah Collier, and that's it.
McCain had his moments tonight, but him and Foster look out of place at times. Sean Stewart gave him a couple good minutes, but I don't know how ready he is, if I'm going to be honest.
Look, if you're Duke and Kyle Filipowski gets into early foul trouble, you need more than 3 minutes out of Christian Reeves.
Seth Greenberg at the half said that they needed Christian Reeves for rim protection. They threw him in there. To his credit, he caught a lob for a dunk, which energized them. but he put 2 defensive possessions and had 2 fouls. Like,
yeah, that's not acceptable.
This team's starting 5 is really, really good and is one of the best in the country. Their depth is going to go through it. Their depth will lose them games early in the season and maybe late in the season.
I have a question for you, and it might be a little on the nose. I saw it going around Twitter a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Tyrese Proctor tonight was not great. He had 8 points.
What was his final stat line?
8 points, 3 for 9 from the field, 1 for 6 from 3, 5 assists, 1 rebound, 3 turnovers, 2 steals. Not the worst, but for a guy that's getting first team All-America buzz, I'll admit I was part of that buzz. I thought Proctor was going to be a superstar this year. He hasn't looked like a superstar so far. Do you think we may have kind of just overvalued that Tennessee game?
No, it was a collective thing for me. He played really well in the back half of the season, and like he did stuff last year that like you wouldn't expect a 17 or 18-year-old or 17-year-old freshman to do, especially on a team full of other freshmen. Like the list of reclass point guards that didn't work out and just like got buried and have been unheard of since, like, you can go on. There's been multiple of them at Duke that didn't work out. I think Tyrese is going to be fine. I always had questions about him being a first-team All-America just because, like, this offense runs through Kyle Filipowski. Like,
oh, yeah, and Flip is awesome, and he had an awesome game tonight, and he is still my National Player of the Year pick.
Yeah, they're going to get him the ball.
He might have competition from a guy that we'll talk about very, very soon. I know you know who I'm talking about.
But I think, like, overall, Tyrese just needs to be more aggressive and more confident. Like I said in the offseason that, like, he could have a Trey Jones sophomore type season if he wants to. It's just about playing with that kind of, like, I'm going to use your term. Like, he needs to be more of a fuck you scorer because he can do it. Like,
yes.
His shot has improved. Like, he clearly, he has shown that his shot has improved. He's already a really good passer. And he's not Trey Jones defensively, but he can be a really good defender.
Yep, I'm with you.
Yeah, needs to be more confident.
You want to talk about the other huge game tonight? Another huge game where a Power 5 top team in the country got a road win in a juiced up environment against another high major top team.
Which one? There were like 5.
Yeah. Let's talk about the one with a potential National Player of the Year candidate.
Yeah.
Showing himself to be the best player in his conference in his second game as a transfer. Dalton Connect for Tennessee tonight. 24 points, 5 rebounds, 2 assists in 36 minutes, 8 of 15 from the floor, creating separation with ease, hitting tough shots. He is a fuck you scorer. And remember what I said about Tennessee on the preview podcast with Will Warren, who is not with us tonight because he's running a half marathon tomorrow.
Good luck, Will. I admire the courage.
Tennessee last year scored because they had to, with Josiah Jordan-James on all those pin downs and with Vescovy doing his thing. Now with Dalton Connect and Jordan Gainey, they can score because they can. And it's shown. Connect 24, Gainey 10. Jonas Adu had 10 points tonight. Jordan James 14. Scoring 14 is kind of like a side note.
Mm-hmm.
You don't even think about it.
Vescovy had 5 points. Ziegler had 5 points. They combined for 5 points in their opener against Tennessee Tech. And
it doesn't matter.
Listen,
They still go on the road, juiced up environment, big cat probably in the house, and they beat Wisconsin.
Listen, I said in the all offseason, and I can go find the receipts if you want, but I said all offseason that Dalton Connector was going to change his team's ceiling. He has not only changed his team's ceiling, he's not only an all-conference player like I picked him to be, but he is the best player in the SEC right now. And I don't know if that's arguable. What he has done to this team in the 2 games that he's played with them and the 5 months that he's been with them is unbelievable. He's gonna go through it defensively. He's not this team's best defender. He's not even close. But you have 2 all-conference guards in Zakai Ziegler and Santiago Vescovi, and late in the game, needing to close it out, up 8. They're deferring to this kid. This kid that was at Northern Colorado. This kid that nobody, this kid that half of college basketball casual fans didn't even know about because he was at Northern Colorado last year.
And half of the diehards didn't know about him. I didn't have a single tweet mentioning his name until today.
I watched the film of this kid when Tennessee was interested in him, and I really liked what I saw. And when they got him, I'm like, yeah, this is probably going to work because they need a kid like this, even if you're going to get worse defensively. But Tennessee, in an offensive system that is overall slow, struggled to shoot the ball, struggled to create shots last year, brought in this kid from the Big Sky who played on an 8th place team in the conference, and all of a sudden he's the best player in the SEC. He's probably going to be a National Player of the Year contender, at worst an All-American contender, and they're deferring to him late in the game on the road with 2 all-conference guards. It's incredible. Unbelievable.
It really is incredible. And what the Vols have is a depth of talent offensively, a depth of talent defensively, and a system that is now ready to punch at its weight. Because for years, they were punching below their weight with their offensive system. It was the sum of the parts is greater than the whole.
Mm-hmm.
And now they have the pieces to make the sum of the parts, to make the whole equal to the sum of the parts.
I want to pull this up.
And I want to talk about Wisconsin, too.
Real quick.
Wisconsin's starting 5 is up there as one of the top groups in the country.
Real quick before you go on, if I had told you that if I had told you in May, let's say, that Tennessee in its second game of the season was going to go on the road, score almost 1.2 points per possession in a 67 possession game where their 2 all-conference guards combined for 10 points, what would you have told me?
You're fucking crazy.
Yeah. Okay, go on, Wisconsin. There is another team that played in this game. And
AJ Storr is fantastic.
Yeah, no, he's great. I was super impressed with him tonight.
But as a whole, not efficient enough for Wisconsin today. Mm-hmm. Not physical enough on the glass. They got out-rebounded. You got to make your free throws as well. I'm looking at you, Tyler Wall, Mr. 2 for 7. Tyler Wall... and Connor Essegian is still kind of dealing with it. Maybe if Connor Essegian's fully healthy, this game goes differently.
Yeah, it's possible. This is something I wrote about in my preview today. By the way, with Tyler Wall, he's really good inside 4.5 feet. Just super good touch around there. But he was a 63% free throw shooter last year, and if you put him on the line, he's not going to make a lot of them. Obviously 2 for 7 is uncharacteristic even for him, but
he usually make 4 of 7.
That was a difference between Tennessee needing to close out the game instead of needing to go win it.
By the way, the second half is underway at Pauley Pavilion.
Yeah, we'll be keeping our eye on that one. Didn't think we'd have to be.
And here's a corner 3. It's no good, and the rebound is pulled down by the Bruins, and I'll give you commentary of that if it gets closer.
Also, Chucky Hepburn, super great when he doesn't have to be a really high usage guy.
I thought his freshman year he was fantastic off the ball with Johnny Davis as the primary handler. I thought it was a great freshman year. Last year was kind of a step back, I thought, because they were asking him to do too much. And this year this year with AJ Storr as the primary handler, it's better. What were your thoughts? I want to hear, because I wasn't really able to watch this game super closely, on Nolan Winter.
He's playing more than I thought he was going. Actually, I lied. I thought he was going to play at least a little bit in relief of Crowell because they're very similar players. Both stretch the floor, versatile, can offensively, not the greatest defensively. Like, honestly, in a limited sample size, I thought he was pretty good. I think he's going to go through it defensively this year, like especially when he gets switched on.
Okay, that's a travel.
Especially when he gets switched on to smaller guys, but he looked good. He looked decent out there. He offensively at least he missed 2 open threes, which won't normally happen because he's a good shooter. Like, in a small role, I like him this year. I know he was a minus 15, but like it didn't feel like that.
All right, you want to talk about the other game where a ranked team, where a should have been ranked team, went on the road, won at a tough, sold out, high major environment.
Ohio State?
You don't really want to talk about it, but we're going to talk about it.
Ohio State or
no,
Mizzou.
Yeah, let's talk Memphis. I honestly forgot that the Ohio State game happened. Let's talk Memphis and Mizzou. By the way, can we first talk about how over 100 programs?
You know who's coaching this game for Memphis, by the way?
Who?
Rick Stansberry.
Well, he coached like Tarzan today.
All right,
let's
get out of the way.
First of all, the guy who had 100 plus programs interested in him played 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And they won by 15. Like, Memphis is really damn good. This is a character building win. It's a statement win to go on the road. This is going to be quadrant 1 the rest of the year. Mizzou's not going to fall out of the top 75 in the net, are they? Lafayette is up 6.
Oh my God, man.
This would be a horrendous loss for UCLA.
Lafayette's like terrible, aren't they?
They are not good. Like not even good. Like
not even like if not bottom 300 or bottom 64.
Where were they? Let me find where they were picked.
By the way, like every fear imaginable with this Mizzou team that I had came true tonight.
Okay, go on.
They have no alpha. And it's what I said all offseason. And it's like, it's fine because I like the direction the program's heading in, and they'll still win a lot of games this year. And
Lafayette was picked 7th
in the Patriot League.
And they are now up 7 on UCLA. There are under 16 minutes to go in this game. UCLA is...
And it is unwatchable because of the channel it's on.
Oh, I have an illegal stream.
I'm sure you do. I do not.
All right. We're headed to the under 16. I'll bring you a couple minutes of commentary from that after. See if you see it.
Sean East looks good. Like, doing a much better job picking his spots this year. Last year, I think he kind of embraced the system too much. Caleb Grill had 10 rebounds tonight. They were up 31-19 in this game and lost the game by 15.
That should never happen.
I think it actually may have been 31-17, but that's irrelevant. Like, Quinterly was really good. Walton had a nice game. Like, this Mizzou team just isn't going to score, like, isn't going to beat teams scoring 55 points.
Yeah.
And, like, frankly, like, last year, they would just throw the ball to Kobe at the elbow, and he could hit a face-up jumper over you. He could back you down inside because he was so much stronger than you. They don't have that this year. They don't have a Demoy Hodge to just get him out of a funk. Like, Mizzou will not beat a single high major team scoring .786 points per possession.
No, they're not going to beat anyone scoring 0.7 points per possession.
Mm-hmm.
Mizzou's magic number is like 1.02 to beat high majors, probably, right?
To at least have a chance.
Yeah. Like 1.08 to be sure you're beating them.
In the first half, they scored .971 points per possession and were up 7. That felt fortunate. Like, the defense was playing well, but, like, didn't feel like it was well enough to be, like, sustained.
I agree.
I saw a tweet. I think it was from Matt. Let me see if I can find it.
Oh, we should have brought him on.
I can text him next time we have a important game. And hold on, let me see. Okay, so this was Mizzou's third worst game points per possession wise under Dennis Gates.
What were the two worst? Princeton?
The other two at Mississippi State last year was .789, and the last year against Auburn on the road was
that game.
That game was over in the first 4 minutes.
What was the score?
I don't even remember. All I know is after the first 4 minutes, I turned it off and watched something else. It was that bad.
All right. Ohio State and Texas A&M. That another big road win.
Yeah, I mean, I had eyes on this, but, like, not really. Like, I was locked in on the Duke game, obviously, but, like, the initial reaction, like, if you hold A&M to 3 of 18 from 3 and they shoot less than 70% from the line, and I mean, they shot 23 free throws, but Ohio State shot 17. Like, if you're relatively close to even on free throws with A&M and they go 3 and they shoot 16% from 3 in a game, like, you should beat them.
I agree. Here's the problem. Ohio State is not physical enough. Texas A&M is still just that physical. Henry Coleman, by the way.
20 points.
Maybe you should have gone.
Would have taken that last year against these types of teams. This is without Marble, by the way. This is without their starting center and their most physical player.
Anderson Garcia had 13 rebounds. Wade Taylor had 21 points. Tyrese Radford had 21 points. And these guys are not hitting anything. Bruce Thornton, by the way. Shout out Bruce Thornton, 24 and 5.
Yeah. How'd Carter play? 18 minutes and didn't score. Only took one
Here's
shot.
Lazar Stefanovic pulling up from mid-range. A 15-footer is good, and it's a 7-point Lafayette lead. 43-36. Taking it across the timeline for Lafayette's Butler. Gives it up. Now here's Devin Hines for 3. That's no good. Rebound is pulled down by Will McClendon and given off to Dylan Andrews. Andrews for UCLA across half court.
A&M score. A&M, by the way.
Low post. Turns towards the basket. Under the rim. Can't finish. He is going to the foul line. All right, Jonathan, go ahead.
A&M, by the way, had 73 points. 62 of them were scored by Wade Taylor, Tyrese Radford, and Henry Cole.
Yeah. They got dudes. They got stars. I think we can say that for certain, that they have serious studs on this roster.
Like, last year was my A&M year. I sold my stock on them. I'm not buying stock because of this game.
I agree.
Ohio State's still kind of soft.
Yeah, and that's my problem. Like, they were the worst defensive team in the Big Ten.
I mean, they got out-rebounded 45.
And they chose Jamison Battle as their big portal pickup.
They got outscored 45-35, but, like, I mean, like, you expected that.
Miami against UCF. This is a matchup of two high majors, apparently.
Apparently, yeah.
In name only, Miami's 5 starters all in double figures. Norchad Omier, 19, 12, and 4 steals. Bensley Joseph, 15, 5, 5, 5, and 4. That is almost a 5x5. He was 1 block shy of a 5x5. By the way, what would that be? A quintuple quintet?
Don't use that language and confuse me.
Wooga Poplar, 23.
Saying some of the names on this Miami team is hard enough.
Matthew Cincinnati with 12, 3, 3, 3, and 2.
Matthew Cincinnati, what's wrong with you?
Nigel Pack scored 11, and overall Miami 10 for 21 from 3. UCF is just not good. Tyler Hendricks, by the way, made an appearance. You want to hear his stat line?
Go for it.
11 minutes, 2 points, 0 for 3 from the field, 1 steal, and 4 fouls. Congrats on winning the My Brother is an NBA lottery pick, and I get to go to school with him challenge.
So all I learned from box score watching
And a tough bucket for the Leopards. It's a 4-point lead.
All I learned from box score watching this game is that Wooga Poplar can be Miami's best player, and they can be probably
they can beat the worst teams in the ACC doing that.
And UCF cannot win at Allen Fieldhouse. Is a takeaway I have, even though they don't play there this year.
Jaden Daly still looks really good, but again, BYU without Jackson, without
Dawson Baker, who was
Jackson Baker. Jackson Baker is a different guy. Without Dawson Baker, with Noah Waterman fouling out in 19 minutes. Dalen Hall with 18 points in 25 minutes. Fousseyni Traore. BYU is making a statement. Mark Pope is making a statement that this program is ready to make the jump to the Big 12.
Is this just going to be one of those years where nobody really thinks anything of BYU and Mark Pope just like finishes top 40 in KenPom for no reason?
Like a random Washington State year.
Yeah. I mean, nobody really thought anything the year they were going to be like a 5 seed or a 6 seed in the NCAA tournament. And then they just popped up and, smoked Gonzaga.
It's possible. Ledee is great. By the way, Reese Dixon Waters had an awesome performance. Are you discouraged at all by San Diego State?
Like, I have to look more into it before I give a definitive answer on that. But, like,
they were underdogs, by the way.
BYU was 8 of 12 on layups. 13 on or 9 of 13 on shots at the rim.
The key here is
that's Nathan Mensah.
Yep, it's Nathan Mensah. Anyway, moving forward, what is going on in Morgantown?
They lost him. I mean,
they lost to freaking Monmouth. They stink.
Won 3 games last year.
Okay, they won more than 3.
What was it? I don't know.
They had a really solid like February or something. They were 7-26. They ranked 301 in KenPom entering today. They now rank 236.
Have we ruled out this West Virginia team finishing 301 in KenPom?
They're 89 right now.
It's my serious question.
They don't play enough bad teams for that to happen.
Yeah.
Like Monmouth was the
Hey,
worst.
you could have said the
on their
same thing about
schedule.
Louisville last year.
Like Monmouth was the worst team on their schedule for Ken Pom, and they dropped 20 spots by losing to them. Like losing to Kansas by 30 isn't going to drop them anything.
They might be underdogs by 30 in that game.
I texted Alex. He hasn't gotten back to me.
Okay. I mean, I'm sure he's busy writing a game story or something.
Yeah.
But
So
yeah,
do you want to
good win for Northwestern. Langborg played
for
well.
Northwestern? That's a tough team to beat. Dayton, apparently a top 25 team according to one person.
Yeah.
One prominent person. Deron Holmes is shooting threes now, 17 points on 7 shots. He also had 6 assists, by the way. This dude is a battle droid. He's going to bulge through the Atlantic 10.
He's probably going to be a first-round pick.
But Ryan Langborg tonight, 19 points on 9 shots. Boo Booey was great. Barnheiser was good.
Of course he was. It's my guy.
Nick Martinelli was also pretty good. He had
Nick finished with 7. I saw he was at 7.
He had 9.
Okay.
9 points, 4 steals, 6 shots. Like Northwestern, 47% from the field against Dayton is really solid, and they out-rebounded them 27-21. Most of the shots in this game went in. I mean, going and playing against Dayton shooting 52% from 3 and beating them.
Who's been the second most impressive team in the Big Ten so far? Is it Northwestern?
Let me think. Michigan.
Oh yeah, Michigan's looks really good.
Oh, you know what we should do?
Minnesota looked good tonight too.
You know what we should do?
Taking too much stock in, but just wanted to mention.
I think you know what I'm about to do.
What? Put up the Johnny Furphy counter?
Well, now I am.
How many did he have tonight? I saw he had 7 points in the first half.
Oh, and by the way, we have to put the grill counter at 4 now.
Kansas gets a 99-61 win over the Jaspers in Manhattan.
Yes, they do. How many did he have?
Mr. Furferson finishes with 15 points.
Congratulations, Australia!
On 3 of 3 from 2, 3 of 7 from 3. He had 3 rebounds, 2 turnovers, 3 fouls. Offensive rating of 118. Congratulations, Mr. Furphy. What else?
There you go. All right.
Oh, Virginia, Florida.
Yes, get into that.
So, didn't have eyes on this one. Wasn't on one of my 2 screens. But you texted me Beekman scoring jump possibly. He finished with 13. Blake Buchanan.
He did 10 in the first half.
Blake Buchanan with 18? The freshman? That's
the Idahan.
pretty impressive considering the big he was going up against.
Where the hell did my phone go?
That seems like a question that only you can answer.
I was trying to... Oh, here it is. By the way, UCLA took the lead.
I was so worried.
Were you actually?
A little bit. Riley Kugel had 17, didn't really shoot the ball well. Micah was good. Will Richard was good.
What a night of basketball.
Virginia's just really balanced, man. And they can win some high scoring games this year. This result, they were on the road here, right? This was in Charlotte. This was at the Spectrum Center. But yeah, with this result, I feel pretty good about my plus 585 ticket to win the ACC. But just based on this result alone, I mean, I'm obviously high on them regardless. But McNeely didn't shoot the ball well. Didn't really get much out of Rhodey. Jacob Groves have 12. Wow. Like, Bond played 4 minutes. Something to look into. Like, if you were to tell me coming into the game that they were going to get, like, what is this? They're 3 breakout sophomores, that they were going to get 17 points out of McNeely, Dunn, and Bond. Like, I would tell you they probably lost.
Yeah. Overall, that's an assessment I think I would agree with. Virginia and Florida, by the way, Micah Hand-Lockton looked great. Walter Clayton did not.
Yeah, I'm not discouraged by that result. Like, that's a team I think
that's a good loss. I mean, Virginia's a top 25 team in the country.
Yeah. What else? I still cannot believe
Wake Forest and Georgia.
How good is Oregon?
Well, Dante and Shellstad weren't playing. That's their 2 best players.
No, I know. That's what I'm saying. How good is Oregon? They smoked this Georgia team, and Wake, I didn't think was that bad. Although
they might be.
I forget sometimes that Wake has their moments.
Wake can be Wake.
Like, they didn't play all that great on Monday. The box just looked really good. Salas finished with 13 tonight, didn't shoot well. Miller with 22. Like, Monsanto didn't play.
He's still out, yeah.
Oh, right. He's hurt. Did Afton Reed never get his waiver?
No chance. Why would he get a waiver?
No, I just was wondering. I forgot.
Noah Thomason, good performance there. Overall, for Georgia, impressive win. Stegman was rocking. I think Georgia fans are kind of pleased with the way that went.
We're an hour 12 in. We finally get to talk about Caden Pierce.
I forgot about that.
Good night.
I'm, by the way, still waiting on a response from my Hofstra guy. So let's hold that up a little bit.
Okay, but I'll just real quick mention good night if you're a former state champion of the Glenbard West Hilltop.
Yeah, we gotta talk Davidson. Bobby Durkin.
Davidson. This is the Asheville Championship. Is that what it's called?
I believe so.
Asheville Championship. Davidson picks off Maryland. These were teams that are that were separated coming into today by 123 spots in KenPom.
And I was unbelievably surprised. Jameer Young 6 for 15. Deshaun Harris Smith 2 for 9. Donta Scott 1 for 5. That's not going to cut it, especially against a team like Davidson that shoots as well as Davidson does.
I thought Maryland needed to do more on the portal this offseason.
I agree. They needed more depth.
Like, especially losing Hakeem Hart to Nova. If their starters don't play well, they're going to have a tough time.
Yeah, I mean, Batchelor is not that good. Jahari Long's not ready. Jamie Kaiser needs time to grow.
Yeah. 16 for Bobby Durkin. He's the Glenbard West guy that I was referencing.
Angelo Brazzi got to the line for 9 free throws. He had 6 steals.
Like, if I'm being honest, like, I didn't really think this that much through when we made the Davidson bet, but, like, this roster is, like, not as bad as, like, I think maybe they were projected.
I was not a fan of it because,
like,
I didn't think they had any depth.
That I agree with.
And I thought their starting lineup lacked an alpha. If Bobby Durkin can be an alpha, which, again, I don't know if he can be.
I don't disagree with you on any of that. I don't disagree.
I mean, you get a good performance tonight also out of Sean Logan, the sophomore.
Mm-hmm.
A solid, you get 16 minutes out of Hunter Adam. So you don't need to play Kuchera and Brazzi and Bailey and Skogman for 30 minutes each. I mean, Huffman you obviously want out there because he's pretty good.
Yeah.
But Davidson can do some damage if they shoot as well as they did tonight.
What else? Waiting for the Hofstra guy. I'll go through.
By the way, I don't think we're gonna get a response there.
Okay, real quick, just in case we do. I'll go through a couple other results. Furman crushed
JP
tonight.
Pegues 23-9-9.
Yeah, 99-76 final there. Pegues had 23, near triple-double, as you mentioned.
Hold on, I wanted to go back. Double-double for Quincy Guerrier. Illinois beats Oakland in that one, 64-53. It was a little closer than Illinois would have liked it. It was really close.
They did not play well. They did not play well. It was fairly deep into the second half. That game was still hanging in the balance.
There was no Amani Hansberry tonight. So that's definitely something to note. Michigan, as we mentioned, they're great. I texted Henry the link. He hasn't joined. I texted my Penn State guy the link. He hasn't joined, but Qudus Wahab had 11 points, 18 rebounds. Kanye Clary had 20.
Southern Illinois, by the way, beat Queens by 23.
Who's on Southern Illinois this year?
They got back Xavier Johnson, who was like their third guy after Domask and Lance Jones last year.
Best Xavier Johnson in Midwest college basketball.
Of course, naturally. They had returned a bunch of role players. And if Johnson takes a step, they'll hang around in the MVC and be a middle of the pack competitive team. Like Trent Brown.
By the way, UCLA 18-2 run. They're up by 7.
Who's up 7?
UCLA.
Okay.
Minnesota, big win over UTSA. Iowa, big win over Alabama State. Gavin Griffiths, 25 points.
Ooh, I didn't see that.
For Rutgers against Boston University. That's a big performance. Kyron Alexander was held to 2. Matai Baptiste had 8 and 5 steals.
Minnesota
Rutgers,
got 18 from Cam Christie.
17 from Andre Hyatt tonight. Still no Mawat Mag. Cliff Amori only needed to play 21 minutes. Rutgers held BU to 45 points. Morehead State falls to Purdue. I think we all saw that coming. Radford beats Marshall. That's a good result for the Big South. Marquette crushes Rider. Villanova crushes Lemoyne. Lemoyne kept it competitive in the first half. Dalen Swain had 15 for Xavier against Jacksonville. And Butler drops 91 on SEMO. That's a tournament team from last year. The Pierre Brooks Revenge Tour had 14 points today. Bowden Kapke had 11 and 6 off the bench. Finley Bizjack had 6 and 5 off the bench. Butler's got a decent amount of talent on that roster.
How about Utah beating UC Riverside by 29?
One sec. We're not there yet.
Okay.
Liberty over Charlotte 71-59. Kyle Rohde with 20. Harvard over Rice. Big performance from freshman Malik Mack, the DC Gatorade Player of the Year. Big fan of his. 20 points there. Temple over Navy. That's another good result just necessary result for the American. Tough night in the A-Sun, by the way. George Mason destroys Austin Peay.
Yeah, that was something I saw.
That was 42-15 at halftime. Bellarmine came back and made it close against Kansas State, but ended up losing. NEC goes 0-4 as expected.
Must be a day that ends in a Y.
OVC goes 0-4. Also must be a day that ends in a Y. Jalen Crocker Johnson, 12 points, 5 rebounds, a block, and a steal for Little Rock, and a loss to UIC. Is that Isaiah Rivera? That is Isaiah Rivera, the
yes,
former Colorado State player.
He's from Illinois. 25
and 7 for him. Toby Okani, 14 and 10. Cameron Fenn's off the bench. I liked him last year when I saw him. He didn't do anything. To the Pac-12, as you mentioned, Utah crushing UC Riverside. Lawson Lovering played well. Did you get eyes on this?
I didn't. I just think it's a notable result because I don't think UC Riverside's bad.
Stanford crushes Sac State. Colorado crushes top 25 Grambling. Without Cody Williams, by the way.
That might help them.
Julian Hammond, by the way, outscores KJ Simpson on 5 fewer shots.
Looking at tomorrow's slate, what?
We're not done.
I didn't say we were. I'm just
Oregon State improves to 2-0.
Who is 2-0?
Oregon State. Clap it up for Wayne Tinkle.
Yeah, it only double overtime at home against Troy.
Yep. Pacific is up 11 at Cal right now. That's Cal with Jalen Tyson scoring 20 with 11 boards. I'll tell you who's probably not going to get a Ken Pom game MVP tonight.
Fardaws Amac.
Yep. Unfortunately, he already got one. 0 bench points for Cal in this game. All 62 of their points have come from the starting lineup. Are you concerned about this team's depth?
Well, I was gonna say no because Tyson's back, but should I be?
Yes, they have no depth. It's Keontae Kennedy and what else? I'm looking at this bench. The only name I recognize is Keontae Kennedy.
Yeah, this team may be worse than I initially had them.
They're still a good deal better than last year. That's what I'll say.
That's not hard to do.
I could build a team that was better than last year's if he gave me $5 million.
How about Kentucky going down 19-6 to Commerce to start the game?
Shout out Commerce, by the way.
They're gonna get smoked in the Champions Classic next week.
That's gonna be fun.
And yes, I'm talking about Texas A&M Commerce.
Yeah. But overall, though, Kentucky ends up winning that game by 20, which is not as comfortable as you would have wanted. 21 for the best fuck you scorer, maybe in all of college basketball, Antonio Reeves. But yeah, only 7 guys played for Kentucky. This is a concern.
Is there anyone notable that didn't play that you thought would?
No, Adutero.
Okay.
No sign, obviously, of the big Croatian fella, Zvonimir Ivicic.
Big Z.
Who's huge, by the way. Have you seen those videos of him with Calipari? He's fucking gigantic. McNeese beat College of Biblical Studies.
Yes, this is the game I've been waiting an hour and 24 minutes to talk about.
And Tavion Column, 26-8. Anything to add?
No. McNeese is a team we'll be monitoring into March.
McNeese, by the way, 2 more games against non-D1s coming up this week.
Yeah, one of them is
Litorno and Champion Christian.
Oh, that's just this week.
Yes.
They still got Mississippi University of Women after that.
Yes. They still have to play against the men's basketball team at the Mississippi University of Women.
If they lost that game, that would be the funniest Rothstein tweet of all time. It wouldn't have even been close. It would beat the Academy of Art tweet by 1 billion.
It would be the greatest tweet ever. Auburn only beats Selah by 15. Kind of speaks more to Selah than Auburn, probably, because Selah is probably
one of the favorites in the Southland, right?
Yeah, McFarland. That's Roger McFarland, one of their better players.
Did we say Nichols over LSU?
What did you say about LSU?
Nichols over LSU.
No. What did you say about LSU?
That they're an unserious program?
It's a dead program. Call them more.
They're a dead Yeah, they are.
I mean, a lot of chatter about Kenny Payne and like correctly so, justifiably so. But when are we going to have the conversation about Matt McMahon?
Dude, I've been having it since last year.
The guy sucks.
The roster he had last year was not that bad. And I will stand by that.
Obviously, Chattanooga blasts Louisville. Mike James had 17 for Louisville. So did Trey White. But, like, what are we doing here? Honor Huff with 25.
I am sending you a meme about
big day for him.
LSU,
Miles Che.
LSU that you are not to read
freshman,
on air.
LA freshman Miles Che had 22. Sam Alexis had 16. BC over the Citadel. We were going to get a BC guy to come in, but he bailed. Because of course he did.
Sam,
yes. Yes.
I've showed you that before, right?
Yes. VCU comes back to beat Samford. Zeb Jackson at 13-7.
That's actually like not a terrible win. Like,
no, Samford's good.
Well,
Samford's a good SoCon.
VCU is, even without Bairstow, is probably worse than we thought. But like, Samford's a solid mid-major team.
SC Upstate was handling Vandy for a while. Trey Broadnax had 17. Miguel Ayesa had 17. But eventually, Camaratos and Ezra Mannion brought Vandy back. They won 74-67. They shot 92% from the line. They out-rebounded Upstate by 20.
Vandy's still missing all those guys that they were missing.
Yeah, Lawrence and Lubin were not playing.
Okay.
Ole Miss over Eastern Washington, 29 for Allen Flanagan.
Ole Miss has won 2 games so far, like pretty unconvincingly against mid-major, not so good teams.
LeJean Watts, who I mentioned earlier in my article, only 6-5 today. 19 minutes though. Jamarian Sharp played 15 minutes, had 2 fouls, 2 points, 4 rebounds.
Wait, how many minutes?
15.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Austin Nunez, by the way, got 6 minutes. Juju Murray got the start, 18 minutes, 7 points.
Are they appealing Cisse's waiver?
Probably.
Because they kind of need him.
Sharp. Matt Morrell had 12. Flanagan obviously led the way with 29. We mentioned South Carolina. Sean Padula had a good game for Virginia Tech. Miles Stute was great for South Carolina. In the Patriot League, we covered everything. OVC, we covered everything. Mountain West. Isaiah Stevens, 22-14 against Wright State. They won 105-77. Trey Calvin dropped 33. In the Valley, you mentioned Southern Illinois. That's a good result. IUPUI is 2-0. They beat Valpo by 10, 66-55. Anything to add there?
Did you talk Alabama, Indiana State?
Oh, no, we did not. Big performance for Aaron Estrada. He had 27. Indiana State, though, drops 80 points in Alabama. That's a big offensive performance. Isaiah Swope had 17. And this is without Robbie Avila.
Yeah, Alabama's giving me very 2022 Alabama vibes, where they'll be really good offensively, but they don't quite have the length. They don't quite have the length inside to execute the system that they want to run.
Grant Nelson was good again today, by the way. 20 points, 8 rebounds, 2 assists, a steal, and a block.
He's going to be good offensively, but when they get into conference play, I think he could really struggle in the areas they need him to be good in.
Yep, I'm with you. Murray State over Tennessee Tech. Ellington with 12, 10, and 5. Texas over Del State, 14-11 for Dylan Mitchell. Akron had their way with Southern Miss.
Does Texas play a real game anytime soon?
I don't know. This is without Ali. 13-8 for Enrique Freeman, 13-6 for Greg Tribble. Good stuff there. St. Joe's over Penn. Tyler Perkins really struggled. Clark Slackert drops 27 for the Quakers. Not enough. Chris Esendoku, 9 and 10. Lynn Greer, the third, 11 assists with 1 turnover. Joe's with an impressive performance. They kind of dominated that game. They only won by 8, but they kind of dominated it. Doesn't seem like we're getting a response, but I'll go one more. UMass Lowell is a wagon. They beat Dartmouth by a lot. And now let's talk about Caden Pierce.
Let's.
Been on for 90 minutes. It's time to talk about Princeton, how they're 2-0 with 2 really impressive East Coast wins. One against Rutgers and Trenton, one against Hofstra on Long Island. Caden Pierce, 26 and 15. Were you able to watch this one?
I was not. Was following it though, and Princeton lost an NBA player. They lost a high major point guard, and they're still really freaking good somehow.
Yeah, I mean, Xavier Lee is breaking out. He hit 3 threes today. Princeton at 12 triples. They had 12 assists on 24 field goals. They won the rebound battle 33-30.
Like, these guys are gonna.
They make their free throw. Princeton's Princeton. Like, Mitch Henderson can freaking coach. He got tossed out of the
tossed.
But like the game plan that his staff put together, Brent McCollum is a great assistant coach. Princeton's really damn good.
And like Hofstra's good.
No, Hofstra's one of the best major teams on the East Coast.
That's a really good win. And like
it absolutely is. This is like it's not going to be, but this is there's an outside shot that's quad 1. Hofstra has chances.
This team could be step for step with Yale in the Ivy League. And
they could. They probably are. And I initially thought that until a little later in the offseason. They're going to be step for step with Yale.
Rumor has it, according to a mid-major madness writer, that Mitch Henderson was watching this game from the bounce house inside Hofstra.
Hey, be nice.
Hey, your words, not mine.
No Chicago.
Even though my words to you were, please tweet this.
Yes.
And now you're punishing me.
Not much to say out of Morgantown. We kind of already got that. That's an accident.
A lot of mid-major basketball tomorrow. If you're
we'll get into that in a minute. We'll probably do another show tomorrow.
Yeah, I'm gonna be out during the day. I'm calling the Mizzou Tennessee football game tomorrow. So.
No, yeah, I'll be watching everything tomorrow.
Thankfully,
so I'll basically be able to do what you're doing right now. You can host tomorrow.
Thankfully, we'll be back for the biggest game of tomorrow, which I think is Bradley Utah State.
Yeah, that's big. We'll get into that.
A game I definitely want to watch. So
so let's get into a preview for tomorrow right now. Mm-hmm. Talk about some of the teams that are playing that we really haven't gotten the chance to talk much about. So let's start Fresno and Kent. Oh my God. You know what we haven't talked about? Game of the year, James Madison, Kent State.
Yeah.
What was going on there? Also, St. Mary's, New Mexico. Aiden Mahaney's absurd. St. Mary's is just as good as Gonzaga.
The only thing I regret so far about Aiden Mahaney takes is that I didn't pick him to be a first-team All-American. I picked him to be a second.
I picked him to be first.
I know you did. Take your victory lap and run with it because he'll end up being a second team because of voter bias.
All right, here we go. Let's get into this. Tomorrow, 11 a.m., Texas State, Miami of Ohio. There's not much there. Miami of Ohio lost to Evansville.
Yeah, they did. Those purple aces, baby. They're coming for you.
Hughes, 17, 12, and 3.
David Ragland is 2-0.
We've got Arkansas State, Bowling Green is interesting. UConn plays tomorrow at noon against Stonehill. UConn should win by 40.
Yeah.
I'm really excited to see GW play again. Against William and Mary. GW beat Stonehill by 45 points. Sorry, by 45 points. Garrett Johnson had 21. And they did that with James Bishop only scoring 5. So I want to see them again. Fordham Cornell tomorrow. That's a big
Yeah,
I'll be
I was
watching.
gonna say I know you'll have your eyes on that one.
Do you have any words on that?
Watch out for Cooper Nord, breakout sophomore. Didn't play much at Cornell last year, if at all. Really good shooter. Going to end up being one of the best shooters in the country this season.
By the way, Notre Dame.
You obviously can more speak to the Fordham side of this, but Cornell, once again, probably, probably going to end up finishing 4th, right around there. In the Ivy.
Going to be in that conversation with Perkins, probably.
Mm-hmm.
Harvard looks good as well.
Ivy League's good.
Ivy League is really good this year. There's
the bottom.
There's the only 2 teams that I don't see with a chance at making the Ivy League tournament right now
Dartmouth and Columbia.
Columbia and Dartmouth.
Yeah, those 2 teams are bad. The other 6 are.
Yeah, Dartmouth is bad. Columbia, we still haven't seen much of because they played Providence.
Yeah, but
Notre Dame's only a 4-point KenPom favorite at home against West Carolina.
How about this? There's like 4 high major teams playing tomorrow. Notre Dame is playing in a game where the opponent is 13 spots lower than them in KenPom, and it's like the 7th most watchable game of the day, according to the site.
Yeah.
Speaks to how bad they are.
10th, by the way. 10th most watchable.
Yeah, that's not good.
Creighton, they're going to kill North Dakota State. Big one. Wilmington and Asheville. In Asheville. Drew Pember, Trezerian White. These are 2 of the best mid-major players in the country. Really excited to watch this one. That is a 2 p.m. start. And then we have another rematch. Arizona State looking to get revenge on PJ Henry and Texas Southern.
Oh my God, let's go.
Yes, Jonathan. Sickos committee. Canisius, St. Bonaventure, Coppin State, and Mount St. Mary's, 2 other ones I'll be watching, in addition to St. Peter's and JIT.
You gonna have your eyes on Seton Hall fairly at all?
No.
Okay.
Unfortunately, there's 3 MAC games during that time slot.
Okay, I was just wondering. Houston plays Corpus Christi tomorrow. That's going to be one of those games where you can't even find it on like illegal sites, and you like look up like 2 hours after it ended, and Houston won the game 75-33.
Yeah, we'll do a show tomorrow night, and we'll probably look at that.
That's one of those non-kind of games Houston plays in where you just like pull up the CBS app and you're like, the other team scored how many points?
The CBS app.
I use the CBS app for college basketball. CBS Sports. What do you use?
ESPN?
No.
Why not?
Bad.
Why is it bad?
What are you doing to yourself?
It's just the easiest app because it has all the games. I can
No,
watch.
dude, you have to reset how you order. You have to reset how you look at games every time. When you go into the college basketball scores, you have to click all Division I every single time.
But I can click and I will watch the game in like 3 seconds.
But I'm talking about when I'm box score watching, not when I'm actually watching a game.
Okay, I use the Real app.
My brother uses that. I think I should probably look into it. UCLA won by 18, by the way.
Sienna Richmond is another one that I'm watching tomorrow.
18 for Dylan Andrews. 18 for Sebastian Mack.
Anything else you guys want to talk about tonight? We're not going to get any other guests on.
You guys, it's just me. Hello.
What time are we doing tomorrow?
Just let me know. I'll let you know when I'm home from the game.
The big game tomorrow, as you mentioned, Utah State, Bradley. Also, Illinois State, St. Louis is going to be interesting. We'll probably go concurrent with New Mexico State, UC Irvine, and Long Beach State, DePaul at 10. So how about...
You have any guests you want tomorrow?
I'll text around to a bunch of guests. How about we say... Well, I'm also going to bring on some guests from today to talk about some of that stuff. I'll speak to UConn stuff.
Okay.
Oh, and I might want to bring some people on for some previews of next week, Gavitt games and stuff.
Oh, yeah, that works. Sunday. How's the slate Sunday?
Sunday is also a mid-major slate, I think.
It's not terrible. Like, we have the 2 Asheville games.
There's not a lot of games, though, in general.
Nevada at
Washington.
Nevada at Washington will be a coaching matchup for the ages.
They're fun.
God damn it. You would have laughed at that if you heard it.
Oh, Columbia plays tomorrow against Albany. I'll be locked into that one. Those are 2 teams that I'm
sure you will.
St. Mary's Weber State on Sunday at 8:00. How about we go live?
Oh, dude. You know what Sunday is?
What?
Wichita State Friends Academy.
Yes! Kenny Poto and company against the Friends. There's maybe the big game that day, though. That's a 10:00 Nevada-Washington game. We could go live during that game. I could bring you some coverage.
That's just good with me. The coaching matchup in that game is just going to be fantastic.
Oh, it's awesome. The best coaching matchup of the day. Yale Loyola Marymount is an interesting one. We'll go live at 10:00 tomorrow, 10:00.
Yale Loyola Marymount is an interesting one.
Yeah, we'll go live 10:00 tomorrow, 10:00 Sunday. And then after Xavier Purdue on Monday.
I mean, yeah, like, listen, man, I'm not doing much until break.
Oh, no, wait. Monday, I'm at Lemoyne.
Okay. I mean, I have some stuff Monday as well. I know there are some notable games Monday.
And then Thanksgiving week, we probably won't have many shows because I'm going to be fucking everywhere.
No, we'll be We'll definitely do a MT Feast Week preview.
We'll do spaces though over Thanksgiving week.
We'll do, and like, listen, I'm gonna be home. I'm gonna be seeing people that I haven't seen in 3 months. We'll find time. I don't know what your schedule looks like. I
haven't completely figured out like.
We'll correspond on that. But one idea I do have is we could do day and we could discuss this more after. But we could do day shows Thanksgiving break.
Like Thanksgiving Day, we'll do a day show.
Yeah, that's good with me. We'll figure stuff out. It's just night's gonna be obviously you'll be covering stuff. I'll be doing stuff.
Like days I'm also gonna be covering stuff.
Okay, yeah.
Like the 2 days that I don't have any games are the day before and the day of Thanksgiving, and also that Sunday, which we would have to do a day show because I'm leaving for school at 5. Actually, that means we could do a late night show.
Yeah, it's only a 3-hour drive, right?
4.
Yeah, not bad.
All right. It's a really good episode of
episode.
We had a bunch of fun guests. Josh Linke, Jaden Daly, Jack Morgan. Their names all start with J. Your name starts with J. My name does not start with J. My brother's name starts with J, though. And it's a different J from everyone.
You know who else's name starts with J?
Say it!
No, I was talking about Jalen Blake's. Come on.
Oh.
What's wrong with you? Post-Christmas All-American. Johnny Furphy.
Oh, by the way. Okay, 11. By the way, you know what we need to... You said it 3?
Yeah.
By the way, you know what we need to talk about here?
What?
He's hitting threes.
I'm assuming you're not... Huh?
The leader is hitting threes.
Oh, yeah.
Taman Lipsey looks really good.
I had to delete a tweet from the drafts, which I'm not happy about.
One.
It was Taman Lipsey when TJ Otzelberger realizes he's his 4th best guard, and it was just the freaking.
By the way, Taman Lipsey might be like one of the best guards in the country now.
Let's not go there yet.
Milan Momcilovic is, by the way, how you say it.
How much would you pay to see Taman Lipsey and Kaderi Richmond play 1-on-1?
I would need to be paid to watch that. It would be like watching 2 fucking clowns.
Taman Lipsey and Kaderi Richmond 1-on-1 game to 21 by 1s and 2s.
6 hours.
Or you have to watch 10 straight hours of SWAC and MEAC basketball.
At least the SWAC and MEAC, they're going to take shots.
That's true.
That's brackets, bubbles, and bit Steelers for you. What a great episode we had tonight. We'll see you again tomorrow night at 10 o'clock.
Way to be decisive.
Kind of a light slate, but we'll be able to get into the real nitty gritty of everything. Maybe we'll bring on Nick Lawrenson. Who knows? Thanks for joining us on Brackets, Bubbles, and Bitch Stealers. The counters are at 12, 4, and 4. We will see you tomorrow.